Okay. So, Dead Space continues. The adventure of a lifetime. See the stars, they said. See the planets. Serve aboard a spaceship. Oh, the centipede got away. It was a small one, which means it was extra fast. I think he found a crevasse to hide under. Or hide in. Yeah, I know, I tried. You know, it's crazy, I was at the studio today, and so Joe's feeling better, which is good. But, I was at the studio, and there are two flies. And I did the Steve Carell technique, where you put both your hands on either side of the fly, and then you hit it, you clap up. Like, you smack up, so the fly sees the movement, he launches up, and then you get him, like 3 or 4 inches above the fly. I killed 2 flies. It was probably one of my finest moments. I'm bad at video games, but I led my shots and I killed 2 flies. I mean, you know, listen, they're flies. I know the fly support group, Peter, is gonna get on my case about it, but in this case, they were terrorizing us. Now I just have to learn how to get peds.
Peter, did you kill a fly?
No, Lois, I wouldn't hurt a fly. Okay, so now that we're all in the mood for Dead Space after that. But yeah, you should watch, there's a video of Steve Carell on Graham Norton. So if you type Steve Carell fly Graham Norton, and I think, what's his name, Jimmy O'Dowd? I don't know if it's Jimmy, but there's a giant fucking fly, and Carell, I think, you know, I think he gets it. And he does the trick, and I watched it, I was like, no, that doesn't work. And I implemented it today, and it worked twice. I couldn't fucking believe it. Amazing. Anyway, just got done playing Stage 9, and one of the last things I did was go to the Arboretum. This kind of looks like an Arboretum. Are we still on the Enterprise? This is more Deep Space Nine. This is Dead Space 9. So let me check my inventory. Slow-ass elevator. Nowhere near as effective as a turbo lift. Look how many fucking stasis packs I have. Should just, like, sell them. It's another goddamn stasis pack. Is anyone aware of a store in this area? Someone said Soma was a good stream. Soma was one of my favorite streams. Vinny, about the Graham Norton show, have you ever heard the story of Danny DeVito? Danny DeVito being bitten in the balls by a monkey while doing the Penguin for Batman Returns. That sounds familiar enough, but I don't remember the specifics, and I'm gonna let everyone just think about it based on that one little piece of information that they have. Is it weird that I'm not fazed by the sentence Danny DeVito getting bitten on the balls by a monkey? Like, it just seems right. I think Danny DeVito issued a statement today, or recently. It's a really sad statement. Like, I didn't think this day would ever come. You know, he is 73 years old, but... well, he said he would never stop acting, ever. Sorry, I didn't mean to make people have little heart attacks. Only rabbits are allowed to have heart attacks on the stream. What about when he's a dead boy? Well, hang on a minute. Have a little respect for Danny DeVito. Speaking of, someone proposed an idea online that the Always Sunny people should use his corpse in a episode. Like, the last episode of Always Sunny is everyone remembering their time with Frank and how it just won't be the same. And they film around his dead body. And people were, like, getting behind that. And other people were like, no, they wouldn't do that. No, they would absolutely not do that. I mean, he already looks like a corpse in a couple of the episodes. There's the episode where he does the beauty pageant, and he has to go to, like, a funeral home to, get his makeup done. Frank's Little Beauties, I think is the episode. What a fucked up episode that is. And then there's the episode where he loses a lot of blood. I showed the picture, but yeah, he loses like a ton of blood, and he just like gets white. He's like, Charlie. Charlie, it's me. It's Frank. They just want to like get a little blood, but they end up sticking him, and they end up like draining half of his blood by accident. Oh my god. Getting real fucking sick of these necromorph. These, like, ninja necromorphs. Turn that fucking body right around. Oh, you know what? I didn't sell something. I had something that's worth a bit of money I didn't sell. I guess for anyone who's here that's unaware of this fact, because there's always new people here, and that's one of the reasons I repeat myself. The other reason is because I'm an elderly senile man, but I would like to tell you that this is my first time playing through this game. And yes, I am enjoying it. Also, Mega Man 11 yesterday was pretty fun. Anyone here playing through it? You like it? Beat It was good. Beat it earlier. It's alright. Love it. Beat it on normal. Feels like Mega Man. Well, that's really the best review you could give it. Feels like Mega Man. Because they could have gotten that as wrong as an anime fan on prom night. Yep, more HP. It'll take about 3 nerds before I can get HP. Fine. It's gonna be worth it. I'll get one more nerd. I just didn't want to spend too much money in case there was another suit upgrade. No, the HP is useful, especially considering I died a bunch last time I played this. I'm good with that. And also, I upgraded the line gun damage because I find myself running out of plasma cutter ammo here and there, and I figured it would be good to have a little bit, like, the line cutter is a good backup weapon. I still have 40,000 credits, and I could always sell a couple things if I needed it. But I think I'm good. I have some nodes. I have a node, I have money, I have, good upgrades. And again, this is on normal difficulty. I haven't struggled too much. There's a couple moments, but so far so good. It's like challenging enough to get me killed a couple times, but not so challenging that I want to like rip my fucking brain out. Nerd door? Colonel, what's behind the nerd door? I guess your room, Raiden. Why you no mouse? This game does not... First of all, this is the PC port, which doesn't have the best mouse support. For one. And... two... When I play third-person games like this, like Metal Gear Solid 5, Resident Evil 4... It just, for some reason, it feels like the controller works better. You know, even GTA... Like, GTA 5...
Vegetative anomalies detected.
I don't know why I took that lift twice. I just had a moment. I had a senior moment. Resident Evil... what was I gonna say? Oh. No, GTA 5. I play some of it with a controller, some of it with mouse and keyboard. I missed a node door? Really? Did I blind that hard? That fucking saw blade thing was so much better for this brute. Sheer force of will. That's not good. sounds so fucking crusty. It's like Dark Souls Switch sound. Oh, it was slowed down still. Oh, I see. Because of the stasis. Okay, I blinded past the nerd door, so let me get that. It was down here? There it is. Yeah. Some ammo too. Much needed ammo. Vinny, would you rather a Dead Space or a Silent Hill reboot? I'm not really the guy to ask for that. I've never played Silent Hill. I will, like, I'm gonna start Silent Hill 2 next week, I think. I'm gonna let this week just be what it is, because there's Comic-Con and, you know, I have a bunch of other stuff. But, so I will have played Silent Hill 2, and this is my first Dead Space, and I've not played much of this. Aside from this game. So, I mean, really, I'm not the right person, but I'll say so far, I like this. How about instead of a reboot, we just get PT? But considering Visceral's dead, I don't know what will, you know, if this series is ever gonna come back. But I could see it coming back and retaining, you know, going more survival horror as opposed to action. I want to see this series go full Event Horizon. If it ever came back, that is what I want to see. Like that kind of shit. Like that level of, like, demonic horror. Which I guess is just Doom at that point, but I'm okay with that. I listened to podcasts talk about Forza Horizon, and I don't know why. It was just the game that the dude was playing. I'm not going to tell you the podcast because I don't want to, you know, people start making, like, you know, like, oh, you don't like them. Oh, I could have just stomped, right? Listening to the features of Forza Horizon, you know, I played some racing. I'm not a big racing game fan. I feel bad for people that only have an Xbox One. And that's the game that they get this year. They just get one game. It really sounded like... It sounded like the dude who played it was, enjoying it, but also... It sounded like he was, like, stretching to find features. Like, well, you can race, and then there's seasons, and then you can do another race. And then sometimes you and a bunch of people have to do donuts in a circle, and then you collect points. And then you can be an influencer in the game. You get influencer points in Forza. You actually, like, have to be... You get points in that game if you stream it. And if you watch people streaming the game, you get more points. Now, I played Gran Turismo. I thought Gran Turismo was a fine racing game. and I enjoyed it plenty. But I got bored of it real quick. I'm not a car nut. People, I feel, that play games like that and really get excited about them like parts, they like customization, they like different cars. The racing, I'm sure, is fun for a little while, but I think people just are more like gearheads and they enjoy that kind of thing. I'll never understand it. and hearing that this game, you know, is the main game that's coming out on Xbox One for the holiday season, like the main exclusive, that's just... well... I'm glad I have a PS4 now. Vinny, you can do a dab in Forza. Yeah, apparently you can dab, and you can dance on monuments, like Fortnite dance. You can go to monuments in-game, and you press a button, and your character teleports to them and dances on them.
Hydroponics log, Dr. Cross reporting. Something huge just slammed into the hull near food storage. It wasn't a rogue asteroid. I know what that sounds like. But it was big and heavy. I'll report again when I know more.
But yeah, that's... I'm not gonna sit here and judge people's favorite games, because what I may get enjoyment out of, like Soul Calibur 6, for example. I enjoyed that demo. I'm sure there's a lot of people that wouldn't get it, or wouldn't care, and they'd rather play Forza. So I'm not here to, like, shit on you if you like that, because everyone has different tastes, and apparently these games sell like crazy. But... yeah, racing without weapons... oh! Okay! Oh my god, it actually fucked with my aiming. That was meat surprise. He was a racing fan? Yeah, that's a Forza Horizon fan right there. What do you mean you don't like the game, Vinny? What, you don't like to dab on monuments? Even F-Zero is a game that I wasn't sure I would like at first, because I liked Extreme G, which was a game where you could have, like, bullets and missiles and, like, mines, and you could, like, kill the other racers and go in, like, loops and shit. But then I ended up liking F-Zero a lot.
This is Temple, acting chief engineer. I came down here to find Dr. Elizabeth Cross, but she's not here. In fact, I can't find anyone, just more of this organic shit everywhere. I'm going to check the mining deck. It's about the only place I haven't looked yet.
Someone said Forza Horizon is easily the best modern racing series by a wide margin. I don't doubt it. And as I said, I'm not really into modern racing series, so of course I'm not gonna get it. Like, hearing the dude describe the features to me was baffling. I was like, that doesn't sound like a feature, that just sounds like... like, okay, it's an open world, but every now and then you have to do donuts with a bunch of people, and then you just do races. I'm like, that sounds like, you know, like the crew and stuff. But, yeah, racing games, I'm weird with racing games.
Entering zero gravity.
Someone said, do you like Twisted Metal? I love Twisted Metal, and I was a big fan of, what was that game? Where you could drive a hot dog? Rogue Trip? No, that was Vigilante 8, sorry, no, Rogue Trip. Yeah, Rogue Trip is the game I liked. I think you could drive a hot dog in that. I liked that game. So I'm more into combat games, but when it comes to racing games... like, I tried The Crew when that went to beta. I played it for a bit, and apparently Forza is better than The Crew. But man, did that seem like a boring game. I like Burnout. The reason I like Burnout is because you can crash cars. That was fun. Think I know what I need to do? Vinny, asking you to play Forza is like asking you to play an MMO. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's a taste thing. But, you know, but there's a lot of games that people, and again, I'm thinking about, like, putting my rants... Oh, I thought I had to, like, connect the wire. That was dumb. Alright. I'm thinking about, like, consolidating my rants to, like, a playlist on YouTube.
Acting Chief Engineer. I came down here to find Dr. Elizabeth Cross, but she's not here. In fact, I can't find anyone. Just...
Like, Vinny, what do you mean you don't want to play an 80-hour-long game, and then I cue the rant from yesterday? Vinny, how come you don't want to play...
Entering zero gravity.
Near Automatic... or, like, how come you don't want to play racing games? You know, and just get those rants. Every time is a common question that might be a little controversial, like, Vinny, how come you don't play this very specific anime game that I love? And I'll be like, well, you see, I mean you no harm. But I'm not interested. How dare you? Okay, well, let me explain myself for 10 minutes. And that, like, that rant usually happens, like, once a year, sometimes more. So maybe I could just take the rants and just have them online and just, you know, link them to people. Podcast when? Well, me and KY did a podcast for a while, and we might go back to it. But, you know, life... He works early, I stream late.
Zero gravity.
And I'm not home a lot, too, so it's been tough to keep that up, and, it sucks. But the other thing is, too, like, I stream 4 hours a night. That's like a 4-hour podcast every night. And it's usually me just talking shite for, like, most of those hours. This is an interesting part of the game.
Temple. Acting Chief.
But Vinny, you will never play anything new again if you don't listen to suggestions. That's not true entirely. How did you find those games that you like? Sometimes you just find them organically and say, you know what, fuck it, I want to play that. I appreciate the suggestions, but when it's a difference between, like, I'll take a suggestion and appreciate it until someone starts getting, like, pissy. And people do get pissy. Well, what, you don't like it? What do you have against the thing I like so much? That happens. I get, you know, sometimes I get like a little scummy email about like that kind of thing, and that's fine. It's just I've grown to expect it. Like, you know as well as I that I can't hate a game I've never played. I can express my disinterest, I can express my distaste, but I can't hate something I've never played. If I've ever given the impression otherwise, then I'm sorry. No, it's not that I broke. There was no bullets. There was like, it was an issue. I swear, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm here. I'm not dead. I was very, very considerate of the ammunition at that point. It wasn't a senior moment that time, I swear. That was a waste. I meant to heal. I used stasis by accident. Where's this? I'm gonna go. There we go. Vinny, Binding of Isaac is confirmed getting an update that adds anti-birth, and Ed deemed it to be canon lore. That's great.
Exiting zero gravity.
I mean, we knew it was going to be anti-birth based on the trailers and stuff, but that's a nice thing to hear. That is how you do the community right. I really like that. That's good. You know how you fuck your community? You take down their fan project where they recreate the Enterprise D. Vinny, did you know that CBS stands for Centipede Bed Surprise? You know what? They're about as bad as that, yeah. Someone else said something about centipede birth something earlier. Mono, what did you say CBS stood for? Like centipede birth? Centipede birthing service. Hey, we got the service you need. Vinny, there's a game coming out on Switch tomorrow called Crayola Scoot. You know, I'm very aware of this game because people have tweeted it to me. Constantly. That was O'Brien, right there. Vinny, why you gotta hate on centipedes? They're not so bad. Look up, house centipede footage. on video or like look a picture of it on Google, and you tell me if you'd like to wake up next to that in the morning. I see we have insects in the chat. Yesterday I woke up sucking on lemon. That's not that bad, Vinny. Sure. You know what else isn't that bad? Forza Horizon. I hear it's a good game. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means.
Replacing nutrient vat. Replacing nutrient vat. Replacing nutrient vat.
I always forget about stasis.
Replacing nutrient vat.
God damn it.
Replacing nutrient vat.
That's what you get for trying to save ammo.
That's the last one, Isaac. There's a switch in atmosphere control to restart the oxygen recycling. Once the air's clean, you can get into food storage. Isaac, I've been reading these reports.
I like nutrient vat.
The crew all began having mass hallucinations. And... well, I just saw my brother on a security monitor. And that's just not possible.
Feed me nutrient.
Bart, is that you, boy?
Feed me nutrient, father.
What do you find nutritious, boy?
Pant.
Yeah, gonna get a fucking fist fight with a necromorph. Yeah, fuck you! Fuck centipedes. House centipedes in particular. I mean necromorphs. I'll get reload. Wait. Oh, wait. I'm gonna get another nerd. I'll figure it out.
Isaac, where are you? Help me.
Make me whole again.
Flushing all air vents. Restoring nitrogen and oxygen levels. Food storage lockdown lifted.
Did you hear that CD Projekt Red is getting asked for about 16 million worth of royalties from the original Witcher author? I heard about that. I heard that the original, the Witcher author of the books didn't want any money from the video games because he expected them to be a flop because them damn video games are stupid or something. And, yeah, now he wants a lot of money for them. I mean, that's an oversimplification of what probably happened. I don't know the full detail, but... yeah. He took a lump sum instead of royalties. Oh, okay. I mean... kinda sounds like, you know, you fucked up, you lost out. There was another, that reminds me of, like, there was another bad deal. I forget what it was. I don't know if it was the Beatles or Star Wars, but it was something crazy. Where, like, I think it was Alec Guinness, maybe? Just took a flat paycheck. It might have been him. I don't know. Like, it was the first, I think it was the first Star Wars movie, and Alec Guinness was offered like 1 or 2% of all the gross of the Star Wars movie. Or he could take, you know, like a check. Which wasn't that much because, again, Lucas had a limited budget. And Alec Guinness just took the check. It was James Earl Jones. It wasn't Alec Guinness.
Hydroponics log, this is Dr. Cross. It's hard for me to believe what I'm seeing here. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm going to the mining deck. I hear that's where survivors are gathering. Jacob, I'll wait for you there.
I mean, hindsight's a hell of a thing, because we see Star Wars now, like, yeah, of course, take the fucking royalties. But, at the time, sci-fi was just kind of laughed at. You know, it was like, invaders from another world. Plan 9 from outer space. What will the tentacle monsters do this time? So no one really took sci-fi serious, and I don't think anyone on the Star Wars... someone said buy some plasma rounds. I'm gonna do that. But, you know, when it came to Star Wars, that changed a lot. If you watch a lot of sci-fi before Star Wars, it didn't feel like lived in or real. It looked kind of, I mean, the thing about, you had stuff like, yeah, 2001: A Space Odyssey, which led the way to Star Wars. And that was like an arty movie that really inspired a lot of filmmakers to take sci-fi more seriously. But it wasn't until Star Wars that the floodgates, like, opened. And then Paramount was like, oh shit, can you believe the success of this movie? What else do we have? What do we have that we can do that's similar to this Star Wars movie? And you know what they had? Star Trek. And that's how they revived Star Trek 10 years after the TV show was canceled. And then they made a movie that was slow, boring, pretty good, I like it, but it wasn't what people wanted. And then Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan was much more like Star Wars.
Unknown antigen injected into the filtration system.
That's really fucking gross.
Damn it. The poison wasn't strong enough. It's still alive. Get in there and kill it before it contaminates the entire ship.
And then if you want to take it a little further, and you want to tie directly to Dead Space, after Star Wars was a success, they gave Ridley Scott Alien, like they gave him the budget for it, which is to this day one of the best sci-fi movies / horror movies, I think, of all time. And that's a direct through line to, stuff like Event Horizon, which influenced this. So you could trace it either to Kubrick or Lucas or some jackass not taking royalties. And Lucas even cut his own earnings, and he was able to acquire more budget that way. By taking, like, he wanted 2.5%, like, no. George Lucas wanted all the rights to the toys for Star Wars. Oh shit! It's fucking Nidus Canal. And the studio agreed. They gave him the royalties to the toys because they didn't think it was going to be a big deal. And then Lucas became a fucking multi-millionaire. Blah, blah, blah. You get it. Pantaloon. Say, hey man, nice shot.
Isaac, you did it. Hammond, do you read? Oxygen levels are returning to normal. Damn it. He's gone again. No sign of his rig anywhere. It's up to us now. I've got a plan to get off this ship. I've located an SOS beacon on the mining deck. If you can get down there and activate it, we might be able to send a distress call. Oh god. I don't know how much longer that turbo will hold.
Someone said, what difficulty is this, baby mode? I don't know if normal is considered baby mode in Dead Space, but it's normal. And I also used the cannon, which is probably too powerful. People are saying jump in the mouth. Fucking how? Can't. Oh man, that would have been a nice Easter egg. You go in the mouth and you get a node. Or it just fucking swallows you. You die immediately.
Exiting zero gravity.
Someone said you get corn if you jump in. Was that a veiled poop joke? What was the part in the gut story where people would, like, pass out or throw up? What was it? Corn and peanuts? Do I even want to ask what you're referring to? I'm not gonna, listen. I'm not gonna tell you. But if you have a really fucking strong stomach, read Guts by Chuck Palahniuk, the guy who wrote Fight Club. It's a short story that he would read at, like, live events that he would do, book signings, and people in the audience would actually pass out from how disgusting the story is. It's not... According to Palahniuk, it's a bunch of stories that he's heard that he combined into one short story, which is a lot of what Palahniuk does with his stuff anyway. But, you've been warned. I mean, if you really want to know what it is, you have good fucking luck. But you can't say I didn't warn you. It'll make you stronger, though. You know, if anything, look at it as an opportunity to grow in strength. Will it, though? I don't know. Probably not. That's just a theory. Yeah, walk on the ramp. Anyone see the new review of the Psycho series 1 and 2? How the fuck does Jay know so much about movies?
Out of here alive, Isaac. There's an asteroid loaded up in the mining bay waiting to be smelted. If you attach the SOS beacon to it, you can launch it away from the ship to make a clean broadcast. The beacon's on the maintenance subdeck. You can launch the asteroid from the control room. Damn, the control room is locked. It looks like they keep an emergency access key on the processing subdeck. Couldn't be easy, could it?
Never is.
I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Well, I mean, Jay knows a lot about movies, but mainly like just creepy sex pervert movies. According to Mike. No, but he's really knowledgeable. I mean, he knows so much. I love listening to him talk about stuff. It's like, you know, I'm not the biggest movie buff. I like movies. Enough that I enjoy pretty much anything they do. But, you know, listening to him specific, like Mike too. Mike is very knowledgeable, but Jay is like, this dude just knows everything. And his passion for the subjects that he talks about makes me interested. So like now I want to go back and watch Hitchcock movies because I watched that review. Yeah, he likes a lot of horror and weird films, that's true. What does Rich like? Comic books, video games, Binding of Isaac, insulin, Jack. Tums. I do, I just, you know, those are great. Vinny, have you given the last Shadow Puppets a listen yet? I've listened to one song so far, and I'm still waiting for the right moment. I know that sounds silly. It was like Dan Auerbach's other project. I didn't listen to it right away, but when I did, it was like, I'm ready. But I heard one song from Last Shadow Puppets, and I thought it was good. Alex Turner rides this fine line of... He kind of annoys me, but I like him. Like, the way he croons, like, when he does his live stuff, when you watch the live stuff, it feels... I don't really know how to describe it, so I'm not going to. But I do like his lyrics a lot. I like his voice. It's the dude from the Arctic Monkeys. It's his side project. Been listening to so much of The Police lately. Since I watched that Andy Summers documentary, I fucking love The Police. And not like the hits. I don't want to hear Every Breath You Take or Every Little Thing She Do Is Magic all the time. I want to hear the fucking crazy shit from their early albums. Well, they help. Every album has good stuff. Demolition Man is a great song. Canary in a Coal Mine. I mean, they have some really fucking good songs, and listening to Stu Copeland drum is just fucking transcendental. I don't really know how to explain it. So, estoy velando. Is it weird that Sting is my least favorite member of The Police?
The mining subject is offline for some reason, Isaac. I'll see if I can run a bypass.
But I love Sting too. Talk about ego. Talk about ego. But he's got such a great voice, and his lyrics are a little shitty sometimes, but sometimes they're great. He's got a good sense of melody. He does the EO thing. I watched this solo thing he did in 1994. It was like on YouTube in its entirety. I don't remember where it was, but it was like it was like a concert he did of his solo stuff with some Police stuff, and it was great. Someone said, I like the way he controls the spice. That's right, he was in Dune. Directed by David Lynch. Do you think Sting or Bono has a bigger ego? I kinda can't tolerate Boner sometimes, but I like Sting.
But there isn't a single space-worthy vessel in the whole goddamn bay.
Jacob, hurry up! We need to find a beacon.
There's gotta be one around here somewhere.
They are making a new Dune movie. Denis Villeneuve is directing it. The guy who directed Sicario, Dune, Blade Runner 2049. Best director, in my opinion, working right now. Denis Villeneuve. I don't know how you say his last. I think it's Villeneuve. That's how Ryan Gosling says it. If he's doing Dune, I think it's gonna be cool. What was my Bono story? I'll tell you in a second, but, you know, Sting was in a bunch of movies. I'm surprised, and Bowie was in a bunch of movies. I'm surprised they never worked together. Does anyone know if they worked together? Like, I don't remember if there's like a song that they did together, or if they were ever in a movie together. They were both pretty huge around the same time. Fuck. All the babies are out. Sting the musician or wrestler? Yes, I want Sting the wrestler to be in a movie with Bowie. Okay, my Bono story is, for anyone new to the stream, strap in. It was a U2 concert. It wasn't that long after 9/11, and Bono was like really playing it up, you know, like this is New York City, it's the best city, and he was doing a healthy dose of his politics, and he brings up a lady, you know, like halfway through he's bringing up a lady, and he's singing directly to her, where the streets have no name, you know, he's doing his whole thing. And he's being real, like, sexy Bono, even though at this time he was probably, like, 49 or 50-something. But, I mean, that's fine, whatever. Anyway, so that happens, and then he brings up someone who was clearly a plant. It was a dude, Middle Eastern, dude. He had a turban, and Bono brings him up. He goes, oh, look at this fine-looking young man. Brings him up onto the stage, because he's trying to make a point, you know, like, because people are very xenophobic after 9/11, and so he gets him up on stage and he's like, oh, and he's like really like making some weird like sex noises. He's like, oh, tell me your name, young man, and he's like, Dave, you know, whatever, and then Bono's like, oh, you're a fine man, you know, put your head on my breast, and like he's like, you know. And he's singing, and they're like arm in arm, you know, and then he gets put down. I don't think he said put your head on my breast, but then he gets put back down, and then someone else comes up, you know, because it's random. Everyone there is random. He gets the next person up, and it's another young lady, and he starts singing his song, you know, with or without you, and this time he's basically holding her head against his breast. Like, I don't remember, like, I think the funny part of the story for me was, in my mind, I invented that he said, lay your head on my breast. But I don't think he said that. I think he just did it. I think he was just singing the song, and, like, she was short, and her head was, like, resting against Bono's biddy. And I'm pretty sure maybe that she was like a big super fan and she was like crying and she was just so happy to be resting on Boner's chest. So... And Bono's pretty short, too, by the way. But I think that's what happened, and so my joke about it is that, like, he was gyrating on audience- like, I took it to the furthest extreme. Like, he's gyrating on audience members, and he's, like, holding their head on his breast forcibly. He's like, "Oh, lay your head on my breast! Oh, where the streets have no name! Oh!" But it was a lot less than that. Was it Bono or Shrek? Same thing. Vinny, what the fuck is wrong with you? I've said this before, but I've got 7 problems and you're 5 of them. No, listen. I'm gonna get shit for this, but I like you too. I like some of their later songs. Only a couple. I like Joshua Tree and Achtung Baby. I think they're good albums with good songs on them. I'm not crazy about Boner. I'm not crazy about his politics. I'm not even really crazy about his voice most of the time. But I'll be fucking good goddamned if there aren't some good songs on those albums. Don't remind me of uno, dos, tres, catorce. 1, 2, 3, 14! Someone said I like the way the turban part went nowhere. No, it was an obvious plant. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, he held the young man against his chest. Arm in arm, they sang a song or whatever. But it just felt really disingenuous. Like, it just felt like that dude was there. Like, if they played Madison Square Garden multiple nights, that dude was probably there all 3 nights. That's all that was. But the part that was weird was the breast part. Anyway, the situation here just got a lot worse. The gravity failure came as we were collating asteroids. And one broke free of the grav beam. It collided with a wall, killing 2 crew and split into chunks. They're free floating in the processing room, and we can't restore gravity to get the master key until they've cleared. And we could really use some engineering help up here. It's not like I don't appreciate the sentiment, because, you know, New York is a huge melting pot, and I think Bono was trying to, like, you know, talk about that, and that's cool. And I you know, I respect that. If it wasn't just a bizarre, like, stage play that Bonner was doing for the benefit of the audience. But that's kind of, you know, that's U2 shtick.
Entering 0 gravity.
There's a failsafe on the processing control door. It won't open until
Excuse
gravity
me.
is restored. But you can't turn on the gravity until those boulders are cleared from the room. Maybe you can dump them into that gravity beam with your kinesis gun.
Is that a boulder? Oh no, that's a dude.
Anomaly destroyed.
What? What, where?
Anomaly destroyed.
Fuck. That plan didn't work. must be flayed. Vinny, how would you feel if Metroid took cues from this game or Doom? I think... yeah, I think Metroid could take a lot from Doom in particular, and this... I don't know, I mean, is Metroid... Metroid has had a couple elements that were a little bit more on the spoopy side. You know, I mean, Fusion, Echoes, yeah, both of those games had some spook. I'd be down for a little bit of that. Maybe if it's not the whole game, but, you know, the idea of, like, making Metroids more terrifying, because they look really cute. Let's be honest here, Metroids are fucking cute.
Reminder, gravity must be restored before accessing the control room. Thank you.
So I wouldn't mind if it was like, you know, kind of like at the end of Super Metroid when all the stuff, it's like really quiet. There's not really any enemies, and when you see them, they just have their like their fucking life force sucked out of them by the Metroid. That would be a good angle for like a really good Metroid.
Gravity must be restored before accessing the control room. Thank you. Reminder.
I know.
Gravity must be restored before accessing the control room. Thank you.
But yeah, with like a game with good visuals and first person like Metroid Prime, you can definitely play up the horror aspect. Doesn't have to be the whole game, but like a couple segments. Maybe in these segments, Samus has lost access to a couple weapons. Not because of Adam, but because maybe she took damage. God damn it, I killed you in Bloodborne. Oh shit! How'd you get in there? Oh! What? Wait, what? Someone in chat told me to do that. Stomp on their ball for extra treats. How dare you? That was treats. Well played, you did it. I accept that treat. That was a good one. So, yeah, I love the idea of Metroid taking a little... And Doom 2016, I hate that I have to call it that, but Doom had a lot of really good stuff in it. Just from a gameplay perspective.
That's the key, Isaac. It'll get you into the control room so you can
Like
launch
the upgrade
asteroid.
system.
Don't forget to attach the beacon first. I read another report on the colonist dementia. It seemed to start after they removed the marker from the planet. God knows how long it was down there.
And Doom felt a little bit like Metroid to me anyway. Like, finding secret areas and, you know, shoot! It not entirely, but a little bit here and there. Someone just said, okay, Vinny, I just finished Guts. A, I'm never going in a pool again. B, fuck. So, but yeah, a little influence from a survival horror kind of game. Sounds wonderful for Metroid. So thank you for the idea. I'll be sure to let whoever's developing Metroid Prime 4 know about it.
Please recycle any unused materials regularly. Thank you.
And the game is 10 years old, but it still looks really good visually. You know what game is less old than that? Skyrim. Do you remember when I streamed Skyrim, and there are times it looked like an N64 game? And you love it. I do. I do. The Skyrim streams were fucking legendary for me. I enjoyed playing that game. I enjoyed glitching that game too. Vinny, I don't think you remember what the N64 looked like. Oh, come on. You know I know what the N64 looks like. It looks like Skyrim. I could probably find you a couple nice crusty textures in Skyrim. Easily. But no, I mean, listen. Do I have to, like, do a real-life kappa? How do you do that? How do I do an indication of sarcasm? Sometimes you can hear it in my voice, but sometimes you can't. So what do I have to do? So I have to be like, man, there's some... And Skyrim kind of looks like an N64 game. I just don't think some people pick up on sarcasm easily. Or they just don't know that I'm a dumbass. Look at this! It's hanging from the ceiling. That's... what the fuck? It's like fucking butcher store. That wasn't fun. That was less fun.
Dr. Kine, what the hell are you doing? Ah, get back! Come any closer and I'll shoot him. Give me the access codes to the cargo bay. You idiot! This is processing. Why the hell would I have codes to cargo? Don't lie to me. I'm sick of everyone lying to me. It is imperative that I get the marker. Give me those codes. I don't have them. Is this what you did to the captain? Go on. Shoot me if you've got the balls. Idiots! It's the only way to stop it. The only way to end it. He's completely lost it. Somebody call security.
Again, there's always a dude that loses it. I think space is just bad. Like, that's what I learned from things like this in Event Horizon, that, like, there's such a thing as space madness. Got everything. Just, I want to ask a chat member question real quick. Oh.
Is that really you? It feels like it's been so long. But I can help you now. Come with me.
Someone in chat said, I need spackle. I'm just curious why. What do you need it for? They just need to spackle. Maybe they need to spackle, like, little crevices in their room so that the house centipedes don't have a place to hide.
The beacon's in the storage room next to you. I think I could disable the lock from here. Hold on.
She is unfazed. Oh, she's got a health bar. It's a fucking waste. Oh! really hoping I could get that without her taking any damage.
Okay, the door's unlocked, Isaac. I can't get over to you, but I'll find a way. I love you.
What?
This will all be over soon.
Wait, what? Is that a romance subplot that was never talked about, or oh, just kick that guy into the door? That's cool. That's your girlfriend? Oh. Guess I wasn't fucking paying attention. It's been talked about this whole time. Yeah. Well, I must be a dopey asshole because I had no idea. Just wanted to get the meat away from there. If you read the objectives, Isaac states his concern for Nicole. So this is in Isaac's words. It was from the beginning? Oh, okay. Maybe I just... yeah, maybe it just exited my memory banks. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. Do I need some kind of, like brain games? Do I need to do the brain games game on the DS?
Hey, I lost your signal for a while. You had me worried. I see you've got the beacon, so head for the mining bay and attach it to the asteroid. I've been running trajectory calculations, and if we launch soon, there's a good chance the asteroid can reach a safe distance to begin transmitting. Still no sign of Hammond. In his state, I can't imagine he's still alive.
Also, I'll confess, there are times where I, depending on the game, and depending on the game's story, and how how I'm, like, feeling it, there are times during cutscenes where I will look over to chat and read chat a bit, and kind of get the gist of what's happening, but lose the subtlety. Not my finest moments. It was the first scene in the game. Yeah, I have no excuse for that. I mean, you want to throw me on a cross? I got some stones I could give you. Crucifixion livestream when? Do you think Twitch would allow it? What if it was the most viewed media event in all of history and it would make them $12 billion? They would find a way to allow it. Oh yes, as you see, this falls under our terms of service. Definitely. Well, you see, it's a freedom of religion sort of thing.
Safety gear must be worn at all times in Class A environments.
Someone said, why does the internet seem to work on the American Bill of Rights? You know, I was just joking. I don't think Twitch actually has a clause that is a freedom of religion clause. I'm pretty sure you can't actually, like, flay yourself and say it's a religious thing, and get away with it on Twitch. I just don't know. I haven't read the terms of service nearly as much as I should have. But Twitch is based in the US. Hey, did you hear about Amazon minimum wage being raised to $15 an hour?
I got elevator access to the mining subdeck. It was a security lockdown, although I don't think it helped them. Now that you've got the beacon and the key, head over there. It looks like the asteroid is held in place by some gravity tethers. You'll have to knock those out before you can launch it.
It's a good start, exactly. I mean, I remember there were places I worked where I was making $8. $8 an hour. And at one point, I think minimum wage was a lot lower. It was like, I guess $6.50 maybe? I don't know, but it's just, I'm glad that, you know, people are, because those fucking people work hard. The Amazon warehouse workers. I mean, you've heard the stories. I'll be honest, I was thinking about minimum wage. I don't know which one of these to go to. Told you I didn't pay attention. That's another thing. Sometimes I get on my fucking rants and I start telling me fables. And when I'm telling me fables, there's a good chance it's hard for me to pay attention at this, you know, to what's going on in game. And it's not like I don't like the plot in this game. Like, when Metal Gear Solid was being streamed, I paid very close attention because I really wanted to unravel that. But let's face it, I'm not playing Dead Space for the story. I mean, it's nice. I want to know what's going on with the meat goblins. I want to find out why that dude is so religious about it. Like, there's some plot elements here I do care about, but then I do tune out, and that's a flaw that I need to work on. I do tend to tune out. Here and there. I don't know if I would tune out as much if I wasn't streaming, though. Just don't know. This is my first playthrough. Vinny, did you tune out during Resident Evil 4? Well, I had already played Resident Evil 4. I knew the story was going to be a campy B story. I remembered most of the story beats. So, yeah, I tuned out a little bit here and there, but there were scenes I really wanted to see because of the fucking voice acting.
Supervisor Second Engineer Dallas reporting. This will be my last report. I've seen what they do to the bodies, what they become. I can't let that happen to me. At least if I don't have any limbs, I won't be able to kill anyone when I'm infected. Please tell Dawn and the kids that I love them. Oh, God. One more. One more.
Fucking Hellraiser. Oh, jeez. That was a pretty interesting log. Some good timing, too. You sure that was... Give me one more. Suit looks awesome. Sell the ammo? I'm gonna use it again eventually. Sell that one, but I'm gonna buy some... just a little bit of ammo there. Going back to the Metroid horror thing for a minute, I wanted to mention the Mark Brown video that covered Metroid 2, and its 2 remakes, both the official and the unofficial one, about how they both got a lot right, but they missed some of the atmosphere of Metroid 2, even though it's not a perfect game. A sense of dread and isolation. Metroid 2, even though you couldn't really see much because it was on the Game Boy, but that was part of what I liked about it in some ways. I grew up playing a lot of Metroid 2, failing a lot at Metroid 2, not knowing where to go in Metroid 2, but I will say that the game scared me, and the Metroid scared me. I mean, I was younger, but it was really successful at making me feel uneasy and uncomfortable. And the Mark Brown video, Game Maker's Toolkit, explains why that is, like why the game is like that, how it does that. And how the remakes didn't quite get it. Also, that was interesting. I mean, the problem with Metroid 2 is that it's just too goddamn obtuse. It's a really hard game to figure out where to go. That's why it took me so many years to finish it. I couldn't fucking figure out what to do most of the time. Where to go, there was no map. A lot of the areas looked very similar. I eventually ended up either making my own map or just kind of memorizing where things were. But that game got really close to horror at times. Maybe not horror, maybe horror is not the right word, but scary. Tethers must be deactivated, so I'm gonna have to come back here at some point. Yeah, the music was really weird in that game. Metroid 2 had, I think, the weirdest soundtrack. Like, not just of the Metroid games, but like of most of the Game Boy games that I played. There's also, so Metroid 2 remake, another Metroid 2 remake, the one that was made by the fan, not the official Nintendo one, Samus Returns. Both are good, but I never really got any sense of, like, isolation or dread or fear from either of them. Though I will now say that I think AM2R is a better game. Though I will defend Samus Returns if people shit on it, because I think it's also a good game, just for different reasons. People do shit on Samus Returns, yeah. I don't know why. I've seen it a little bit. You know, when I bring it up, when I was streaming it. Not too often. It's not enough that it... They don't shit on it enough that it's like a forgotten bastard like stepchild game. But, AM2R just kind of, I think, did a lot right. to the point where people kind of rally behind that one. Sour grapes over the cease and desists? Yeah, sure, that's possible. But there's also, you know, here's the problem I have with Samus Returns. There's too much of it, and it gets very samey. It's like the same kind of like ruins or like caves. And then I remember, like by the time you get to like area 6, 7, and 8, it's all the same shit. If it's 6, 7, and 8, I don't know. Like it's just a little tinted a little differently, and it's the same enemies, and here's a new enemy. I think it could have been a tighter experience. Isn't that what Metroid 2 is? It is, but Metroid 2 is not the beacon of game design. Again, watch the Mark Brown video. I'm just echoing a lot of what he said because he's smarter than me. But I think Metroid 2 has a lot of problems, and sticking to the problems isn't really a good solution either. Vinny, you say that about every game nowadays, too long. I don't think Breath of the Wild was too long. If I feel a game's length, I'm gonna mention it. Also, that's a really good generalization. Yeah, you can play Breath of the Wild as long as you want. What's this? Planet Crack went smoothly? Oh, from the end, although there do seem to be some problems planet side, and we've temporarily lost contact with the colony. First rock ball was extracted from the tectonic load approximately 1 hour after Planet Crack, and has been processed, refined, and smelted. Results have exceeded even optimistic initial estimates. Normal recovery is around 35% mineral, 5% fossil, 60% waste, but the material from the first ball was 65% mineral and 0% fossil, in line with expectations. That's 6.5 tons of ore from a 10-ton ball. Assuming it's not an anomaly, we've hit a mother lode. What's the poison rot? Is it the anomaly? Or rather, is it the waste? Or is it the fossil, I wonder? Okay, let me clarify. Vinny, have we really reached a point where we're complaining if a game is more than 6 hours long? What the fuck happened to player expectations? Okay, instead of me saying every game is too long, which I didn't say.
Entering zero gravity.
What I did say was, Metroid Samus Returns gets very samey at the end of the game. And by the time you get to areas 6, 7, and 8, it's the same stuff. It's just big, giant corridors. It's empty. There's a couple secrets. But I was running out of steam by the end of it. I did not feel that way with AM2R. I really need a rant playlist. I gotta get a rant playlist going. Someone said the areas don't bother me, the enemy variety bothers me. That was the other thing, too, the enemy variety in the game. Again, towards the end, you're killing the same nematodes over and over and over again. Hollow Knight was a game I said felt a little long. That's personal preference. And I'm not talking about game over 6 hours. That was a game that was 20 hours that I think I would have enjoyed more if it was like 16. Minor nitpick. It's not me rebelling against the industry or the developer. It's me sharing my very specific opinion about Metroidvanias here on this stream, which I call my own. Do you think streaming is better suited for shorter games? For me it is. Some people love longer game streams. I like to stream games because I like to move on to different games. I feel like I'm making progress. I get antsy if a game is really, really long. Zelda... I loved Zelda, Breath of the Wild, but I acknowledge that, you know, I played a lot of it. That was a weird exception for me. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just the quality of the game. I streamed Breath of the Wild one time for 7 hours. I couldn't... It's not a hard and fast rule. I don't necessarily have a rule. Like, oh, this game has to be this length. This game has to be this short. The game cannot exceed this amount of time. Like, not really. It just depends on the game. It depends on, you know, for me, what my personal tastes are. And it depends on if I'm getting bored. What does that entail? I don't know. I'm like a meat man. I'm a man of meat inside of bone casing. And I just have to kind of listen to my own instincts. And for me, Breath of the Wild got a little bit old after a while, and I'm glad, you know, I didn't do all the Koroks, for example. But, it was a great game. Mario Odyssey was another one. Here's a good one. I probably played, what, like 20-something hours of Odyssey? Maybe more, maybe like 25? The cool thing about Odyssey for me was this. There was a lot of extra stuff to do that you didn't have to do. You know, I felt like I got a lot of moons. I got like 667 of them. But you can complete the game in less moons. And if you want to continue playing and getting the rest of the moons and like finding the challenges, you can. And I really like that. That's something I appreciate. Like, the same for like main quest lines in Fallout. I played Fallout 4 for like 40-50 hours. Which, in retrospect, that's probably still too much for Fallout 4. I have to go back in there.
Entering zero gravity.
I have to do another thing. Hang on a minute. Let me get to the ceiling. But when I was done with Fallout, and I was ready to be done with it, I just did the rest of the main quest line, and then I was done. That was good enough for me. So I kind of like a lot of different types of games. I like Metroidvanias that are paced well. They don't have to be too long, but if they are, I'm okay with it. The Messenger was too goddamn long. That was too much padding, and I will stick by that. But Hollow Knight, that's more a nitpick on my part than like me saying that the game sucks. And also, I guess ultimately, if I had to make a broad generalization, I would say I do like shorter games for streaming. I do like games I can finish in like 8 to 12 hours. That's the sweet spot for a streaming. And Metal Gear fit into that nicely. Metal Gear 1 and 2. I was really happy with those two games because they were, you know, we got from one to the next, we got the story. It was great. Loved it. Okay. My ranting is clearly taking away from my video game smartening. So please bear with me while I figure this out. Then I'll hit a save point and go to bed. I did fight the big meat. anus, Joel. Yeah, just did. It was good. Good time.
Entering zero gravity.
Oh!
Entering zero gravity.
I was hoping it would go the other way.
Entering zero gravity. Entering vacuum.
I'm just testing myself. Nope. It's okay, I have plenty of oxygen tanks that are just lying around in my inventory for no reason.
Warning. Payload 8772 is no longer tethered. Untrained personnel should leave the area immediately.
I thought I had more than one O2 tank.
Entering zero gravity.
Let's see if this doesn't turn into a death.
Entering vacuum.
Vinny, what's the last game? Someone said, what's the last game you felt could have gone on longer? Probably Metal Gear Solid 2, to be honest. That I streamed. I mean, the Mega Man games are pretty short. I know 11's not going to take me that long.
Warning. Payload 8772 is no longer tethered. Untrained personnel should leave the area immediately. Entering zero gravity.
Then he put the beacon on it. Alright. I didn't listen. I see it now. I see the thing.
Entering vacuum.
I wasn't paying enough attention. I was too busy yammering tonight. And I know there's going to be a positive feedback loop. Like, Vinny, I love when you yammer. And there's going to be a couple people. Vin, you should just play the game and shut the fuck up. Can we find a happy medium? Can we just get along?
Warning. Payload 8772 is no longer tethered. Untrained personnel should leave the area immediately.
I did it. This is not a control panel, is it? Part was fucking shitty.
Exiting zero gravity.
Shitty for me. Should've, you know, paid a little more attention. Maybe I would have been less dying. Okay, so I'm still trying to think of more games that I felt could have been longer. A lot of the games I've played recently that I played on my own are like stuff like Dead Cells, or like a Robert named Fight. A Hat in Time? No, that was about right. That game was perfect. It didn't overstay its welcome. I mean, the DLC was a little short. There's a lot of good challenges that you could fuck around with. But there's only a couple new areas in the DLC. So yeah, that could use a couple extra. Tropical Freeze. Listen, that game could have been double the length and I would have loved it because it was that good. Resident Evil 4? No, that's about right. And the game is even extended a little bit at the end with the action sequences and the island. Mega Man X4. That's like the same as every Mega Man game, though. You get your 8 bosses, you get your couple Dr. Wily stages, and then you're done. Monster Hunter World? Yeah, actually, I agree with that. Pretty much saw every monster that I wanted to see real early on, and then I got bored before the DLC came out. Okay, here's a game that I haven't streamed recently, or it's just one of my favorite games of all time. Half-Life Opposing Force. Too short. Way too short. I think I want to stop here. Am I leaving us on a huge cliffhanger? Like, is it okay if I stop? It's like almost 4 a.m. You're fine to stop? Okay, I'm gonna stop here then. Oh, and one more. Someone said Chrono Cross could have been longer. Chrono Cross is like a 20-something hour game, right? And when you think Final Fantasy games, you think longer than that even. Chrono Cross, at the end you have to get the dragons, and it just takes, it's like an extra 5 hours of padding. It's like, stop. So, I love Chrono Cross, but holy fuck. That's like Wind Waker's Triforce Hunt. Anyway, so the point is, from me, after all this conversation, I'm going to make a very profound statement. I want you to listen closely, because I feel like I need to defend myself here, and it's important that I fully articulate my thoughts and beliefs here on this stream. Sometimes I talk about boner, you know, the U2 guy. Sometimes I talk about boners, you know, skeletons. And sometimes I talk about what type of things I like, and I share my uneducated video game opinions. So listen up. This is now what I want to say in regards to, let's say, some of the things, the criticisms I've heard earlier in the stream. You ready? Some games should be longer. Some games should be shorter. The game should be fun. If it's not fun, why bother? Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go play Animal Crossing New Leaf on my Nintendo 3DS game console from Nintendo. We got third eyes open in the audience tonight. Vinny, would the time of a game be determined by the price? Yeah, I suppose. You don't want to spend $60 on a game and get 4 hours of gameplay sometimes, right? It depends. It depends. I mean, if some people are okay with 4 hours of gameplay. That's a question for another time. We can open up that can of worms. Some people are content playing only the single player of Call of Duty or of whatever shooter. Like Titanfall was a 5-hour long campaign, but it was a damn good campaign. It was fucking awesome. So if you didn't play any multiplayer, it's like, well, what are you doing? But it was a great campaign. I don't know. It's complex. It depends on the game. There's nuance, and you need to take it on a case-by-case basis. Like, which streamer do you like to watch complain about games the most?